Hello, I'm Mary Susie from Beat Me a Story, and today I want to show you how to make a couple of different chains using rubber O-rings and anodized aluminum jump rings. Now, one of the most difficult things to do when you're using rubber O-rings is to make a chain that is fluid, and you can see that this drapes. So this is really nice if you want to hang necklaces and things, because it has a fluid motion. You can see that it drops around and it is not stiff. So a lot of times the rubber O-rings benefit us because they have a certain degree of friction with them, but you don't always want that. And in the case of a necklace chain, a lot of times what you want is the fluidity so that it hangs nicely and drapes really nicely on the body. So I'm going to show you how to do this. The last video that I made was the bangle bracelet, and I made an earring to go with it. This is very similar to that. So if you've watched that video, then you're probably 10 steps ahead in this game, and this should be very, very easy to pick up. So let me go ahead and get started. We're going to be using the same kinds of materials. This is my little piece of leather that I'm going to use to pull the rubber O-rings through, and I have 2 pairs of pliers here, 1 pair of flat nose, which is usually best, not the chisel nose with the pointy edge because it can cut your rubber O-rings, and then my bent nose, which this could also be a flat nose pair of pliers. So I've gone ahead and pre-closed and pre-opened many of my jump rings. So I want to pre-close a pair, and for every pair, I'm going to be doing this chain first. For every pair we have, we want 4 open jump rings. Okay, and for our purposes, I'm gonna call this the bangle chain, just because it came from the bangle bracelet idea. And again, I also made earrings in that other video that were really cute and go with this pink color. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick up one of your rubber O-rings. This is a 10.1 millimeter rubber O-ring. This is the smaller size that we used in the last lesson. And then I want you to use this piece of leather as a needle and pick up 2 of the closed jump rings. And these jump rings are 20 gauge 5/32 anodized aluminum. This one happens to be the matte gold. We're also going to be using the shiny gold in this project. Okay, so I'm just gonna use my non-dominant hand and slide these over this ring. Okay, now what I want to do is take one of the open ones, and I am going to fold this O-ring in half. So with this open jump ring, I'm actually grabbing both sides of the O-ring, and you can see how that's folded over. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. And I need to add one more, because as you can see on this first connection we have 2. So on this next one we want to have 2. This is going to help make it more sturdy, excuse me, and kind of fill up our hole spaces a little bit better by using 2. I'm going to pull this one back so that I can easily get to this jump ring and close. This one doesn't want to close nicely. Okay. So There we go. Sorry, sometimes I have to leave the screen in order to get them looking their best for you. All right, now what we're going to do is we'll take another rubber O-ring, our piece of leather again, slide the rubber O-ring onto the leather, and use it as a needle to slide through this hole for this pair that we just put on. And we want to pull this in on the horizontal if possible, so it's perpendicular to the jump rings that are there. And I pulled that on. Okay, and again we're going to fold this in half once again. Okay, see how I squeeze that? Okay, one, and one more. Okay, pull this back once again. And we'll go ahead and close that jump ring. Okay, so this is one component. So as you can see, we're going to be linking next a pink component. And in order to do that, I'm going to bring in, okay, so to begin the second link of the chain, we're going to be doing this pretty much the same way as the first link we did. We're going to take the pink rubber O-ring, and we'll take the two closed jump rings, slide them onto here. Okay. I'm going to fold this in half, and then I'm going to pick up an open jump ring and slide it through each of the ends of this rubber O-ring. Now the only difference now, you can see we've started another link. This is a solid little link in our chain, and then we've started a new pink link in our chain. So this one we're going to link through one of the matte gold jump rings that's on the end of our aqua seafoam portion of the chain. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. Okay, and you can see that little piece is linked to here. And I'll pass another one through because we're going to have two jump rings at each linking point. Okay, slide that through the matte gold. And there we go. Okay, so that is done. And then we need to take our piece of leather again. We are going to put our rubber O-ring on, and we will slide this up through the jump rings that are on the other side of that. Okay, pull the leather out. And then this is going to get two more jump rings. Okay, so that slides easily through there. And then we want a second one. Pull that back. Okay. Okay, so now you can see we have two links in this chain. All right, so just real quickly, I'm just going to start one more link just to reiterate the point of how it gets connected into the chain. Okay, so slide this onto the jump rings, Then I want you to fold this in half. Okay, and then before closing your first one, you link it to the previous link of the chain. So when you start working with the open jump rings in each new link, that's when you're going to link to the previous link of the chain. And you can see how fluid this is. The nice part about doing this with the rubber O-rings is that these come in so many pretty colors, and sometimes you just, you know, you need a different luster to your chain. Especially, you know, a lot of times when I use the Julie Haymaker shrinkettes, you know, a lot of times I want a more whimsical coloring. You know, when you're wearing this, I don't even think people so much realize what the material is that they're seeing, but you basically get this color coming through in a nice opaque fashion. So that's really nice. So you see how to make this. You just keep going with this. You see we'll put another O-ring through the other side and another link, and we'll close those links, and then we'll start a pink. So this is just a very quick and easy to do chain that will work with a lot of your colorful pendant items. This could be a bracelet too. You can really do anything. This would make a nice little charm bracelet. You can see the links are available to hook onto and make a great lanyard because it moves around. The nice part too, you don't really need this in a necklace, but this is still stretchy, so we maintain the benefits of having a stretchy quality to it, and that's only gonna help us. Like if you wear a necklace into the grocery store, you have your lanyard on and you lean over into a file cabinet or over your grocery cart, a lot of times that chain can get hooked on something, and it's nice when you wear stretchy chains because they have a little bit of give, and you're probably not going to hurt yourself. So let me show you the second chain. This one's even easier than the first one that I just showed you. So this one I'm going to show you, want some open jump rings. This one I'm going to show you with green, and I know I'm doing a green on green theme here, but I think these will be pretty together. So, and just have a completely different color going on. So we're going to start this the same way. You're going to put the rubber O-ring on. I'm going to call this one the horseshoe chain, I think, because see, it's got the little U shape in every length. Okay, so, oops, only got one of them on there. Okay, so you pick up your two rings, pull them over the rubber O-ring, pull this back out, and then we will take one of our open jump rings, okay, and slide that through there. See that? Fold it in half just like we were doing before. We've got one jump ring, then I'm going to bring in a second jump ring. Okay, so this, for this chain, is one full link. So you can see here, this would be the entire link. I'll set it that way so you can see it's exactly the same. Okay, and now when we start the next one, I'm going to pick up my O-ring. So this one, you have two closed jump rings and two open jump rings for every link of the chain. Okay, two of these. Let's pull these on. I actually think this chain's a little bit easier to make. I know the links are a little bit shorter, but you know, that second one can be a little tricky to get on the O-ring. So, okay, so again, folding this in half. Okay, and once you get that through, we're going to go ahead and attach this to the first link. And close. Okay, and then we'll add a second jump ring to this. Okay. Oops, not sure if I got it. Don't think I got this through both sides of it. Okay, now I have it. Okay, through both sides of it, through the link, through the jump rings hanging off the previous length, and close. Okay, so this one, even simpler. It's just half of the pattern that we did in the Bangle link. So this is the Bangle link, this is the Horseshoe link, and there's two great chains that you can use to make almost anything: bracelets, necklaces, earrings. They dangle and they're stretchy, so you can do anything that you would choose to do with these. So I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you next time. Okay, so with each video that I share with you, I try and add something a little extra special and fun to it to give you a neat little project that you can make right away. So I want to show you, I made a little pineapple chain, and you can see the little glass beads, and they have the bead caps on top, and I turned them into pineapples. And they look really, really nice with this iguana green colored rubber O-ring in 10.1. And then again, we're using the 20 gauge 5/32 jump rings. I used the green shiny in that to make these. So I'm gonna show you how to make these little components that go in between your chain. So you're gonna need an eye pin, first and foremost. Now, I just took these out of my bead stash. These are not ones that I necessarily have for sale on Bead Me a Story. You can get 6 or 8 millimeter glass beads in topaz or yellow colors, maybe some browns to mix in, whatever pineapple colors you'd like to give a try. And I'm going to show you how to do this. Just load the bead onto the eye pin. And then I've got these neat little bead caps. They don't have to be this bead cap, it can be another one. I like that it's pointy on top. I'm going to use 2 because you see that gives me the little flare out on top to give me more of the effect of a pineapple. Now I'm going to use the flat nose Xuron pliers. This is the real tiny tip flat nose ones that they have. And I like this one for this part of bending it. This is the Xuron 475. I was trying to find a number on here so that you'd know exactly which one it was. Okay, so I'm going to grab this here. I grab it down pretty close to where it meets up in here, but not too close. There's a danger in this part of actually breaking your glass bead. So I want to give the metal a little bend before we start working it into a loop on the top. But just be real gentle with this because, like I said, you can break the glass bead pretty easily. These are the round nose Xuron pliers, and I really like these a lot. I also carry a regular kind of round nose pliers too. The reason is the Xurons are really tiny tips, so you don't always necessarily want that. So it's nice to have a couple pairs around in different sizes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the tip and I'm going to start to turn. Okay, so these are round nose, so as I turn, this is getting turned into a circle. And you can see I'm up pretty high on here. This is about the point where it lacks being a circle. So right up at the top, and I want to keep turning around and See, I choke up a little bit and keep turning until you can see that this this point is over to the side. Okay, so I'm basically making a coil with this, and I've choked up just a little bit, and I'm going to just do a little bit more. Now the secret to keeping your loop on the end exactly the same, because we're making a double loop here, is that I turned it around and grabbed it from the other side. That way the round nose pliers are a little larger over here, so it's going to keep that consistent instead of making it smaller, 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 smaller. Okay, and I'm turning, and I'm turning. I might want to turn this back around again, and keep turning, and keep turning, until this loop is tucked in flush. And you see it's not perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. Another tip I'd give you, if I really wanted this eye pin to stay super shiny over time, then I could have treated it with some Renaissance wax before I started. But in this case, since we're using the bronze bead caps and kind of more muted antique colors, I think it's totally okay if this darkens over time and won't hurt it at all. Okay, so I did that one, and I'll just real quickly pop out another one for you to see. Okay, so this little bit different shaped bead. I think it's fun that I use two different kinds of beads. Okay, and again, I'm going to bring in my pliers, do a little bend as far down as I think I can without breaking the bead. And you see that I'm turning. I'm going to flip this around. And I do try and keep the coils side by side, but like I said, this is just a matter of practice to get good at making these little loops on the top. Okay, and you notice I'm kind of making sure to squeeze the part where the little tip is. Make sure that's not sticking out and jagged and gonna get caught on something. Okay, so we have a couple of these little pineapple beads. I actually made more than you can see here. Okay, and then I am going to go ahead and start with the chain again. Okay, so I'm gonna put the rubber O-ring onto my leather, and then I put these two closed rings on, just like we were doing before. We're just making the chain again. I pull these down onto it. Okay, you can see I've got some open ones here. They want to stick together, of course. Okay, and then we're going to fold this in half. Like we were doing before. Now I'm going to continue on my chain for this, so I am going to pass this through the base of the eye pin that was underneath the pineapple. Close that jump ring. Pass the second jump ring through. Sometimes I push this through the eye, sometimes I pull it through the eye. It just depends where that jump ring wants to go. These eye pins have pretty small holes at the bottom of them, so sometimes I have to finagle it a little bit. Okay, got that. Okay. Now, just like before, you see that we're doing the Bangle link portion again. Okay, so I'm going to get another rubber O-ring. I'm going to pull it through these two that are attached to the rubber O-ring we already have. Doesn't want to pull through. Okay. Make sure that gets turned sideways. Oops, just lost that jump ring. That's why they call them jump rings, because they like to jump out of your hands. Okay, through there. And close. Oops, actually I forgot to put my pineapple on. So we've got the more topaz colored one. So I should have, before I close this, picked up my shiny yellow, the next shiny yellow one. Okay, in there. And then I'm gonna add one more jump ring to this. So I want to show you this to you so that you see that, you know, a chain can be whatever you want it to be. And when you add crystals into this, even though you're using something that's real, like, you know, real, not shiny, you know, very matte, like the rubber O-rings, and then we add in the shiny. And then you add the sparkle of the crystals, and it makes this chain look like a whole different thing. So it gives you a whole different effect in the end. And you can see we're just going to keep going with this, that we've got the faceted. I think the facets give you this wonderful look for a pineapple. You got the faceted one, and then you've got this other cut, and then, you know, the little O-ring portion in between. So this makes a wonderful fluid chain. Now what I'm going to end up doing is I want this to be on the sides of my necklace, and then for the bottom of my necklace and for the part that goes around the back of your neck, I'm going to go ahead and add this type of chain, just to vary things a little bit, make it look a little bit different, and you know, give it a nice look. And I just want a nice drapey chain on the bottom. And then of course our pineapples will be sitting upright if they are just sitting on either side. So I hope you enjoyed this, and have fun making pineapples. Thank you.